There is a need for a competing and complementary post-philosophical rhetoric.
From Aristotle onward, vitalism is an attempt to theorize a self-organizing or self-motivating system.
There is a need for a competing and complementary view of rhetoric as being non-disciplinary.
In thinking about the concept of this kind of experimental interview approach, I find that it resonates quite well with not only with the kinds of things that I try to talk about as compositional practices in the two virtuals, but certainly my own compositional practice.
Or a non-Platonic and non-Aristotelian approach to composition theory,
which is one where I often look at two or more passages, cuts if you will, from texts and see how they resonate with one another, where the dissonances are, or
from Aristotle onward,
a non-Platonic and non-Aristotelian approach to
figuring out how to write from one to the other and thereby creating a new plane or a new kind of space.
From Aristotle onward, vitalism is an attempt to theorize a self-organizing or self-motivating system.
So here we have a number of different texts working and cutting into one another.
As Greek philosophy developed up to the Renaissance, it paradoxically combined Aristotle's more material answer to this problem with mystical connotations.
Between vitalism and the virtual, I think you begin with seeing vitalism as something that historically has worked against or in relation to a mechanistic or materialistic theory of the universe.
This connection laid the groundwork not only for the link between vitalism and mysticism, but also for modern scientific ideas and practices.
And so in that way, historically, it's been opposed to scientific practices to a degree. And in some cases, you could even look at vitalism as a kind of mysticism or spiritualism or religious belief.
It led to astrology based on an ecological congruence between celestial and terrestrial events.
In fact, one could even imagine intelligent design as a kind of vitalist principle that one would oppose to a more mechanistic theory of evolution.
And yet something else kept appearing, haunting.
I see Byron's book as taking up a similar kind of approach.
Humming on the screen.
In describing the mainstream path of composition's recent history anyway as one.
Humming on.
That has ascribed to a more mechanistic and materialistic conception of the compositional process.
Humming on the screen.
And devalued or occluded the idea of a more vitalist perception.
Humming on the screen.
But what we can see in Byron's use of the concept of the vitalist,
composition has been haunted by an unseen ghost,
is a very different conception of vitalism from the one I just described.
Humming on.
Which is one that takes a more secular, I guess, approach to the concept of vitality.
Humming on.
By an unseen ghost, by an unseen ghost.
And it's here that I think we can see the development of the concept of the virtual.
Humming on.
By an unseen ghost.
Virtuality as being a way in which
humming on.
The vitalist philosophy
is the continual positing of some more.
Intersects with a certain kind of
some more.
Materialist or mechanical philosophy.
Some more.
So that you have
some more.
A kind of vitalist theory of the mechanosphere, which is, I think, what we ultimately see in the works of Deleuze and Guattari, for example.
Deleuze and Guattari write, "We will never ask what a book means as signified or signifier."
I imagine that many Ret Comp students and scholars have come to theory through reading Victor Vitanza's work or studying with him.
Post-philosophical rhetoric.
We will not look for anything to understand it. We will ask what it functions with. Vitanza, for example, applies one of Kenneth Burke's historical attitudes, casuistic stretching, to the history of rhetoric.
Post-philosophical rhetoric.
In connection with what other things it does or does not transmit intensity.
Vitanza, and particularly